Here is kind of a hard fact. As someone that likes to make YouTube videos, sometimes I get stuff for pretty much costume purposes, as entertainment is kind of my main mission sometimes. So not too long ago I got this plate carrier for my Modern Warfare in real life loadout video. So of course I got the cheapest thing I could find. Over time I kept upgrading it and using it, and for some reason I started to realize, damn, this thing's actually not that bad. So here is this little fun video idea. Pretty much I will show you how I set up this plate carrier for a realistic use case actually. Can Ultra Ship gear have a place, and when and how is it the right way to find it and use it? So this is stupid basic. So this is, a lot of the stuff comes from AliExpress, right? I have to cut some corners to get cool kit on camera. But I got to a point where like, man, I've been trying so much of this stuff and I finally get something like this. It's like, this is good, you know, this could be used. And we're gonna break down like kind of the components here and what I, put into it. Beginning with the plate carrier itself. So the plate carrier is actually made by Yakeda, which funny enough, I mean, this brand is a Chinese brand, of course, but you see, warfighters around the globe kind of using it a decent amount, especially in the whole Russian-Ukrainian conflict. I want to say that this stuff gets actually used fighting battles, and there's probably people that have died in it. So what's kind of crazy is that the plate carrier itself was around the $60 mark, and not only do you get your plate carrier, you also get a different suite of pouches that just comes with it. One of being this admin pouch, not admin, but like GP pouch, and then this triple magazine pouch with the elastic shingles, and you get an hydration carrier that I'll show in a minute, and I think another one of these, and a couple extra singular magazine pouches, all moly, right? So you get pretty much all you need to get going for the $60 mark, which is kind of crazy. This video is sponsored by Army Outdoor. They are an online military gear and clothing surplus store that has been in business for over 30 years. They stock some interesting stuff from South Korean woodland, Romanian camo, desert DPM, you name it. Recently, they got a nice shipment of Italian Vegetata, even in the desert variant, which is really sick. I will always feel comfortable endorsing surplus gear because it is combat and field proven by entire nations pretty much. If you have any gear need, the link below will get you a 10% discount with my code, and you will also support the channel. Thank you, Army Outdoors. We are talking about, holding plates, right? So obviously a plate carrier, its first purpose is to hold plates. As you can see here, it's holding level 4 ceramics just fine. These are decently light, but also decently thick. And as you can see, they just slide here pretty well, and there is a lot of Velcro engagement to close this up. In and of itself is not bad. Okay, you could argue the materials are probably not the best, but you're getting a tubes plate carrier, right? So you have tube disconnects on the side and then on the shoulders. Speaking of the shoulders, I personally hate any sort of quick disconnect on the shoulder unless it's done right. Here, the tubes, as you can see, I just cover them with the shoulder strap itself. First reason was out of need because I had to cinch up these a decent amount so that it would actually sit right where it's supposed to sit plate wise. So it then ended up covering the tubes, but that also serves a purpose that for me, these tubes would just dig into my collarbones and they were very uncomfortable. So covering them up with this padding just pretty much solved that issue. Of course, I really like the tube disconnect. I talked about it in the past. It's one of my favorite features in plate carrier. Kind of a must nowadays. It's really convenient, it's really fast to put on and on. You don't have to adjust the cummerbund size every time. So, that's always a plus. The cummerbund itself, it is pretty simple. It does have internal pockets here if you want to put either stuff or side plates. Personally, the way I adjusted the cummerbund, they get pushed back all the way. So obviously they wouldn't be very ideal for side plates, but if you want to put admin stuff like papers and maps, those fits. And then the way the tubes attachment is here, it's under the Velcro flap. So this you can actually remove if you want and change it for something else. So you could upgrade the cummerbund to something completely different if you wanted. I kept the same mag shingle because it actually just works. It's nothing special, but you can just
take out magazines and they just go in there, they fit fine. And obviously they are actively retained in there, so you're not gonna have any issues in losing them. This is molded in there and it's supposed to be a fragmentation extender protection for your abdomen. First of all is these elastic pouches, and I recently became a huge fan of these, and this was $6. I have a couple sets of these and they're nothing but great, but because obviously it's elastic, this is super simple stuff. And the way I have it here is that I want to show you how versatile they are. So right now I have a flashbang and this little flashlight, and they both, can fit in there. So size is not a problem. So this flashbang just slips in here. You can add more magazines. This is what they're made for. So they fit magazines perfectly. There really is all kinds of stuff you can fit into these, and you can really play around with what you want to keep. So it's really up to you. That's something I really like, having the versatility, having a couple of these. In my other plate carrier, for example, I have it on my cummerbund. And again, the idea was, if I have pyrotechnics, I can just stick them in there. I don't need to buy specialized pouches. So if I don't have them, I can just stick different stuff into it. If you don't use them, they just sit empty and they're flush, right? And they don't bother anybody. Next to it is a replica of a taco pouch. And these are very nice for smaller things. So for example, here I have a pistol magazine. And then here I have a multi-tool. And given that the retention is adjustable with the bungee cord, you can be certain that stuff is just gonna fly out. But overall, I really like this here. First of all, I always like having a multi-tool, and I have a couple ways to keep it. So this is one of them, but there's also this additional pouch that I added on the side here that I can store in here if I want to. And this is pretty tight, so it doesn't slide super easily. So I could run 2 pistol magazines. I'm not gonna talk too much about this. It's just a GP pouch. You can throw anything you want in there. This is the one that came with the plate carrier. It's fine. It has a couple molly slots here that you can add like I did here. Nothing to be said about it, I guess. Additionally here, there is some other novelty item that I got just because I want to try them out. This is a cam light holder, but you can also hold like Sharpies and pens and whatnot. And another $5 product that it's laser cut Tegris, and it slides into the molly quite nicely. And then one of the things I've done here is I run this headlamp, right, for administrative purposes or other purposes, and it has a couple different modes. But the way I have it is I have the elastic band kind of going around it, and then it's held down with this carabiner so that it doesn't, go anywhere at once. And then additionally is being held down under the push to talk. So kind of neat here, it sits there, and then if I need it, it's there, it's out of the way. Radio setup is my usual, it's tried and true and it's simple and it works. The TA push to talk, which is arguably one of the best push to talks in terms of reliability and simplicity. The button is very tactile and it works really well. And this just gets routed to the radio here. The one thing that is probably not ideal is this radio pouch over here. So this is kind of what I had in my bin. And as you can see, it's definitely having a hard time fitting this radio. It was probably built for PRC's 148s, which are a bit smaller. I'm usually more of a fan of internal radio pouches that go underneath the cummerbund, but I wanted to try something different, and that's how I have it right here. I will say it is kind of floppy. This is one of those pouches that came with the plate carrier. It's an hydration bladder. And yeah, it does the job, it's fine. I like how it's compact, but here's another cool thing. I put a cardboard insert in it. Again, for shenanigans, you could get tools and then just stick them in there, close it up, and now you're holding bolt cutters in this pouch. So I don't know, pretty neat. And then one thing that I did that it's kind of very, very useful on a lot of plate carriers is the zip tie mod, so that, in case you don't know, kind of adds a rigidity to your cummerbund so it doesn't flop as much. So there you have it. Can we argue about this till the end of time? Yes, of course, but how cheap can you go? Probably as cheap as that. I think that's probably the borderline where you're getting max value per cost, in the sense that if you go cheaper than that, you're probably not gonna end up getting something that is actually worth using. Definitely usable in a field situation. Longevity wise, is it gonna be one of those plate carriers that you buy once every 5-10 years? No, absolutely not. If you want something just for just in case to hold your plates, then yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's probably gonna last you your lifetime because it's gonna sit in your closet, and that's fine, right? Like that's a lot of people buy gear, even super high-end gear, and that's what they do with it. They just stick plates in it, kit it out, take a few pictures, and then it sits in their closet the whole time. Not everybody needs the super high-end stuff. I have super high-end stuff. Do I need it? Arguably not. Do I want it? Sure. Do I afford to have it? Yes. I mean, it just depends on the situation. Don't waste money, right? Like, don't buy something that is complete garbage, that looks terrible and doesn't fit right and doesn't do its job right and falls apart and it's uncomfortable. But if you find a compromise and you're happy with it, then like, sure, run with it. The way this is set up, I mean, it is set up to be a solid plate carrier, even like for real world use. That's a setup that would make sense, right? I don't set things up just out of my ass. Like I said, if you look at all my gear, it's set up very similarly because I have a preference and I tend to stick with it. So for example, the plate carrier behind the camera, which is my like real deal plate carrier, has a very, very similar setup to this. It's just different because I have different like pieces here and there, but the general overall function is the same. So anyway, thanks for watching. See you next time.